Hi, my name is Jeff Morgan, and in this last video on the Texas Family Law Foundation Betrayal of Trust, I've chosen to name this because there was an honest man back in 1964, William Morrow, who wrote about divorce reform in Texas, the path of reason. Today, this path of reason would be looked upon as being something that would be infringing upon your freedoms. But here's a man who actually looked at the whole system, knew it was a sham, knew that people lied in family court, knew that divorce was not the remedy to many situations, and he's being honest. Unlike the divorce attorneys, many divorce attorneys and the Texas Family Law Foundation today that are being dishonest to you because they make money off of destroying your family. Now, one of the things that Mr. Morrow says is that divorce should be available as a remedy only if it is evident that all life has gone out of the marriage. Earlier, he made the comment that there is a difference between a sick marriage and a terminal marriage. A sick marriage is a marriage that should be brought back to health. The marriage should be restored. The marriage should not be killed. If you have a sniffle, if you have a pulled muscle, if you have a headache and go see a doctor, you don't expect the doctor to give you a death pill. You expect the doctor to give you something that will help bring you back to health and life. If he gave you death pills so that every time a person with a minor injury or a headache or something like that saw the doctor, they came out dead, that doctor would be guilty of malfeasance, would be guilty, should be put to jail. He's killing people under the guise of practicing medicine. And many divorce attorneys are killing families under the guise of practicing family law. We need to defend the person's ability to divorce. It does not make a difference if we're destroying families. After all, as divorce attorneys, we make our living at this. We want to be good at this. We want to be proficient. We want to be able to make a boatload of money destroying your family. And by the way, you pay for us. But this honest person back in 1964 mentioned that divorce should be available as a remedy only if it is evident that all life has gone out of the marriage. In fact, he even stated earlier, if there is a real fault that has led to the marriage being in trouble and possibly on the verge of divorce, that one instance, or maybe even a few, is not necessarily a reason to justify destroying the family, destroying the marriage. So he's trying to give a rational way forward, a way that would help to preserve marriages and help to preserve children. So he says a rational divorce system should embody three fundamentals. Divorce without traditional courtroom procedure. How about that? All these charades that these family law attorneys have to play to pick your pockets, to deprive you of thousands of dollars. And they're acting like they're doing something for you. In reality, the courtroom is a sham. There is no way that a defendant in a no-fault forcefully divorced lawsuit against him or her can win. It just cannot happen. It is a charade put on by lawyers to pick your pockets, to steal your money from you. The second thing he said is divorce should be without defendant's guilt. Now, he talked earlier about consensual divorce versus unilateral, no fault, forced divorce on demand, which is what we have in Texas today. In Texas today, we have unilateral divorce, forced divorce. Any person, for any reason or for no reason whatsoever, can file for divorce, and the state of Texas will always back up that person 100% of the time, period. Doesn't make a difference that the husband or the wife may say, listen, there's no need for a divorce here. The state of Texas will say, but you're wrong. We're going to side with the person who thinks that a divorce should take place. We will always, 100% of the time, side with that person. And that's why judges will tell you, even though we think that the marriage should be together and should be saved, we have to grant the divorce because that's what the laws say. In fact, I've had judges tell me, go down to Austin, get the laws changed, which is what we're trying to do. Change unilateral, forced divorce, imposed divorce, so that divorce cannot be exercised against a person, against his will or her will, that person will have some type of protections, due process protection, equal protection under the laws, that the state of Texas would quit siding with the person who is filing for the divorce for any reason, for no reason, maybe for a totally false reason. A third thing, divorce despite the plaintiff's guilt. And he goes further into that. I'm not going to deal with this right now. But one observer, one perceptive observer has written, it is the duty of the state to provide machinery for exploring the causes of divorce and offering remedies. Maybe not compelling remedies, but offering remedies. How many judges have you heard of in a divorce court? How many attorneys are saying, you know what, there are other options other than divorce? They don't say it. They don't say it. There was a study that was done by William Daugherty and Leah Ward Sears, and it blew some of the attorneys away to find out that even in the midst of a very deeply contested and embittered divorce, in about 40% of the instances, the spouses wanted to have a break to somehow see if the marriage could be saved. And the attorneys were responsible for helping to destroy that family needlessly because they did not want to believe that. Another judge wrote that out of the 4,000 cases that she presided over in divorce, she felt that 50% of the divorces should not have taken place, that it was one spouse calling out to the state for help, and the state abandoned that spouse. And the state does abandon the spouse who is the respondent to divorce. The state sides with the person wanting the divorce for any reason, for no reason, for a made-up reason. The state defends that person 100% of the time. This is the state of Texas. This is what we're seeking to change. But it is the duty of the state to provide machinery for exploring the causes of divorce and offering remedies. Offering something to keep the family together. Not saying that the first solution is to destroy the family. It is in the interest of the state to maintain the home if possible. What? I thought it was in the interest of the state to destroy the home at the drop of a hat, at the drop of a pin. No, it is in the interest of the state to maintain the home if possible. The problem is our laws do not permit that. In fact, our laws demand the opposite, and that's what we were seeking to change in the state of Texas. But if necessary, to dissolve the marriage with the least possible damage if the principals refuse to go on with it. This should be a cooperative thing. If people want divorce, it should not be a forced divorce. It should not be a unilateral divorce. It should not be a divorce in which one person is saying, I don't want the divorce. I don't think it is right. And the other person says, ha, 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 ha. Doesn't make a difference. What you think? I'm going to win because the state of Texas is on my side. Enormous benefits to the family life of the state could be achieved by enacting statutes providing a positive approach in resolving marital conflict. Marital conflict is part of every marriage. Divorce does not have to be. Divorce is way too easy of an option today. And the following suggestions are offered as guides and such for a civilized divorce system, a system of divorce in Texas. So the first one is that each community should have a unified family court which is skilled with workers. You mean, what do you mean by workers? The divorce attorneys are workers? No. That is staffed with skilled workers such as psychiatrists, marriage advisors, social workers, people who are there to train the family to cope with problems. What a concept. This is actually what the state of California was promising before they put no-fault divorce laws into gear, and they reneged on that promise. And that's what we followed, is the entire system in which no-fault divorce, divorce on demand, has become the law in the state of Texas, even to marriages that can and should be saved. The state of Texas is guilty. The legislators who passed this stuff and who allowed this stuff to continue on are guilty of destroying families. Number two, there should be no concept of guilt and innocence or matrimonial fault in the divorce court. The problems of divorce, which are really social rather than legal, should be resolved through informal, non-adversarial proceedings. And remember, divorce attorneys want there to be an adversarial approach to divorce because they make their money that way. They make more money if they can get you fighting. Ask them. Well, Mr. Divorce Attorney, if we want to do this nice and easy, do you make as much money? No, we don't. We want to have something. Even if you have something set in stone, we're going to find some way, if we can, to help create some conflict here, especially if you have a lot of money, because, you know, the more money you have, the more money we can get. Either spouse should be permitted to file with the family court a declaration of intention to divorce. So they're not saying that this is a divorce petition, but it's actually a step to help create some type of a situation in which the courts would say, in which the other person would realize, we have come to a critical point. We need to work on saving this marriage. It should be a merely neutral declaration that a marital dispute exists. So in the state of Texas, what you have down is you have a petition for divorce, and often accompanying that position, in fact, I believe it's mandatory in most counties, some type of temporary orders. A person thinks that they want to do something neutral, and immediately the counties get involved as well, because, I mean, it's not just the states that have an interest in divorce, it's the counties that have an interest in creating divorce, because, you know, some of these divorce attorneys are taxpayers in their counties, and if these divorce attorneys are making money, maybe the counties are making money too. Just the reality. They make it adversarial intentionally. He also advocates a waiting period, and he advocates for perhaps as long as 6 months. 6 months, who could last 6 months? Well, it's very interesting because we had a bill in Texas last year that we were trying to get through that would extend the waiting period from 60 days to 6 months, had 22 co-authors. It passed out of committee unanimously, a committee comprised of both Democrats and Republicans. 4 Republicans, 3 Democrats, unanimously passed through. You know who opposed that bill? The Texas Family Law Foundation, an attorney who was a member of the Texas Family Law Foundation. 6 months? Why? I might lose income. Maybe in 6 months they can reconcile their marriage, and I'm not going to make the money off of this. 6 months is not a very long waiting period, especially if you've been married 10, 15, 20 years. You're telling me you can't wait 6 months and try to resolve things peacefully and save the marriage? The purpose of no-fault divorce was to save marriages, not to create divorce on demand. During the waiting period, specialized resources of the family court should be made available to the couple in an effort to save the marriage. Once again, this man is talking about saving the marriage. He's not talking about destroying the marriage like the Texas Family Law Foundation. The Texas Family Law Foundation wants you to destroy your marriage. They're going to tell you otherwise, but they're not making any money off of you if you save your marriage. They only make money off of you, these attorneys, if you destroy your marriage. So even though they might say one thing, look to where their financial interests are, and you'll see how they act. Upon expiration of the waiting period and further discretionary periods, as the court may deem necessary, so you may have your 6-month waiting period, and the court may say, you know what, we aren't convinced that this marriage is not salvageable. We actually believe that this marriage should be restored. So even though the 6 months are up, we're going to give you another 3 months. And maybe at the end of that time, we're going to give you another 3 months. Because the state has an interest in keeping families together, not in destroying families. Divorce attorneys have the interest of destroying families, not keeping them together. Keep the divorce attorneys out of it, and the state needs to quit choosing sides that they always choose for divorce. Our laws right now favor divorce, not the permanence of marriage. If the couple has children, the welfare of the children should be the primary concern of the court. And now this is a slippery slope sort of thing, because nobody can define what the best interest of the children are. In fact, everybody somehow thinks that they know the best interest of the children, everybody except the parents. The parents never know the best interest of the children. The parents may have been involved in the children's lives for the last 15 years on a daily basis, but they don't know what the best interest of the children the best interest of the children is only known by an attorney, or by a social worker, or by a guardian ad litem, or by a judge, somebody who maybe even has never met your children, but somehow they magically know what the best interest of your children is. So I have a little bit of a problem with this last one. I understand where he's trying to go, but parents should not be left out of the best interest of the children. The best interest of the children in almost every single case is to be raised in an intact family with a mother and father who love each other, learn how to get along, and who stay married to each other. That is the best interest of the children. Anything less than that is less than the best interest of the children. So he concludes this article by writing, in order to achieve the objectives of healthy, stable families and rational means of resolving marital disputes, radical changes in our divorce laws and in the operation of our divorce courts are necessary. Unified family courts with adequate, trained staffs, elimination of the concept of fault, but they're not saying you get the forced divorce. No fault divorce is forced divorce today in Texas. He's not advocating forcing divorce. He's not advocating divorce on demand. He's not advocating unilateral divorce. He's trying to put up a condition to help save marriages, not destroy marriages and families unnecessarily. The adoption of non-adversarial court proceedings, waiting periods, efforts at reconciliation, marriage counseling, all of these things will help prevent unnecessary divorces and reduce the human damage from those that must be granted. Traditionally, our divorce laws have been Olympian and censorious. We have a precious opportunity to provide new laws that are human and understanding. Such is the path of reason. And I would ask the Texas Family Law Foundation, is this really the path of reason? Can you join us on this path of reason? Can you, divorce attorneys, say with most people of good intent, that you know what, we need to start looking to help save families. We need to be looking at how to achieve objectives of healthy, stable families, rational means of resolving marital disputes rather than saying, well, then you just got to get a divorce. Radical changes are needed in your approach. You divorce attorneys are part of the problem, and you know it. The Texas Family Law Foundation is part of the problem, and you know it. You advocate for divorce on demand. You advocate for forced divorce. You advocate that a person should be able to get divorced for any reason or no reason. You advocate that a person who is completely selfish, who may even be at blame for any type of fault in the marriage, should be able to get a divorce because that's how you make your money. But that is not the way of reason. Can we accept a path of reason? Will divorce attorneys, will the Texas Family Law Foundation actually turn over a new leaf? And instead of advocating for the destruction of families, do something that would help preserve families. I hope that is what they will do. This is the path of reason. Thank you.